Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into one of the most colourful, chaotic and unforgettable decades in American history. We're talking about the 1970s, a time when fashion wasn't just clothing, it was a statement, a revolution, and sometimes a public spectacle. These were the years when everything seemed possible, when norms were shattered, when people dressed in ways that made their parents gasp and their neighbours stare. And then, almost as quickly as it all appeared, it vanished. Before we dive in, take a second to like this video and subscribe if you enjoy these deep dives into America's past, but only if you genuinely want to. And a huge thank you to the viewer who suggested this topic. Your ideas keep this channel alive, and I genuinely appreciate every single one of them. Drop a comment letting me know where you're listening from and what time it is. I know someone out there is tuning in at 2:37 in the morning wrapped in a blanket pretending this counts as productivity. Also, exciting news, this channel is now live on Spotify. If you prefer listening there, the link is in the description. Same content, just another way to settle in and let history wash over you. Now, dim the lights if you can, turn on a fan for that soft hum in the background, get comfortable. Really comfortable, the kind of comfortable where you're not moving for the next hour unless absolutely necessary. Because tonight we're exploring a decade where platform shoes could break ankles, where polyester ruled the world, where bell-bottoms swallowed your feet, and where looking normal meant you weren't trying hard enough. We're talking about fashion trends that defined an entire generation and then disappeared so completely that today they feel like fever dreams. Have you ever wondered what it actually felt like to walk into a disco in 1976 wearing head-to-toe sequins? How did people manage to dance in those platform heels without ending up in the emergency room? What did it smell like inside a department store when every rack was packed with synthetic fabrics? Did people actually enjoy wearing those skin-tight jumpsuits? Or were they just enduring it for the aesthetic? And when did everyone collectively decide that maybe, just maybe, bell-bottoms were a little too much? What was it like to look in the mirror and see yourself dressed in something that, today, would stop traffic? And more importantly, could you survive a single week of 1970s fashion? Could you handle the platforms, the polyester, the colours so bright they could be seen from space, the unforgiving waistbands, and the constant knowledge that one wrong step could send you tumbling? Well, congratulations. You've just woken up in 1973. Your closet is full of things that defy gravity and good sense. Your shoes add 4 inches to your height and subtract all stability. The mirror reflects someone who looks like they're ready for a disco, a protest, or possibly both. And somewhere in the distance a sewing machine hums, stitching together the next trend that will sweep the nation. Good luck. Let's start with the most iconic piece of clothing the 1970s ever produced, bell-bottoms. These weren't just pants. They were declarations of independence, wearable rebellion, fabric that flared out from the knee with such dramatic flair that walking through a doorway required spatial awareness. The wider the flare, the cooler you were. Some pairs were so extreme they practically swept the floor, collecting dust, dirt, and occasionally small pets as you walked. You pull open your closet and there they are, hanging like fabric sculptures. Denim that starts normal at the waist and then explodes outward below the knee into waves of material. You step into them carefully, tugging them up over your hips, feeling the snug fit around your thighs before the fabric suddenly releases into freedom. The flare begins just above your knee and continues downward, widening, billowing until the hem brushes the ground with every step. Walking feels different in bell-bottoms. Your legs move inside all that extra fabric, and with each stride the bells swing outward, catching air, creating movement even when you're standing still. You glance down and barely see your shoes, just fabric pooling around your ankles like textile waterfalls. This is intentional. This is the look. You step outside and immediately feel the weight of the denim dragging slightly with each step. The hems pick up everything: sidewalk grit, grass clippings, the occasional splash from a puddle. By the end of the day, the bottom 2 inches of your bell bottoms will be frayed, dirty, and absolutely perfect. That wear is proof you lived in them. The sound is part of the experience too. Denim swishing against denim, fabric brushing the pavement, the soft swoosh that accompanies your movement. In a crowded room you can hear bell bottoms. Before you see them, a gentle rustling that announces someone's arrival. And the variety is staggering. Some bell bottoms are subtle, just a slight flare that hints at the trend without committing fully. Others are elephants, so wide at the bottom they could house entire civilizations. Some are plain denim, classic, timeless. Others are embroidered with flowers, peace signs, abstract patterns stitched lovingly into the fabric. Some are patchwork, scraps of different fabric sewn together in chaotic harmony. You pair them with platform shoes because that's the only way the proportions make sense. Without the height, the bells drag hopelessly. With platforms, the hem hovers just above the ground, creating that perfect swish, that ideal silhouette. You catch your reflection in a store window and barely recognize yourself. Your legs look impossibly long, your stride confident, your whole body moving like you're gliding rather than walking. Bell-bottoms don't care about practicality, they snag on everything. They get caught in car doors, they tangle around your ankles when you sit down. But none of that matters because wearing them makes you feel like you're part of something bigger, a generation that rejected the straight-leg conformity of the past and chose movement, freedom, and just a little bit of chaos. And when you walk down the street, fabric flowing behind you, you're not just wearing pants, you're making a statement. You couldn't walk through the 70s without noticing the shoes, towering, chunky, impossible platforms that added anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of height and approximately 0 inches of safety. Men wore them, women wore them, teenagers wore them to school. These shoes were made of cork, wood, plastic, anything that could be stacked high enough to make you feel like you were floating above the ordinary world. You slide your foot into a platform shoe and immediately feel the shift. Your heel lifts, your toes tilt downward slightly, and suddenly you're standing several inches taller than you were moments ago. The sole beneath you is thick, solid, unyielding. It doesn't bend, it doesn't flex. Walking in platforms isn't like walking in normal shoes, it's like walking on stilts that happen to be shaped like footwear. You take your first step and feel the weight of the shoe, heavier than it looks, clunking against the pavement with a satisfying thud. There's no quiet entrance in platforms. Every step announces itself. You sound like you mean business, even if you're just walking to the grocery store. The height takes getting used to. The world looks different from up here. Countertops seem lower, doorways feel closer. You can see over crowds now, peer into spaces that were previously just out of view. It's intoxicating, this sudden vertical advantage, this feeling of towering over your former self. But platforms demand respect. You can't run in them, not really. A sudden sprint would end in disaster, ankles twisting, body tumbling, platforms scattering across the pavement like abandoned architectural experiments. You learn to walk with intention, placing each step carefully, your center of gravity shifted upward in ways your body wasn't designed for. Stairs become a strategic challenge. You approach each step cautiously, making sure the entire platform sole makes contact before committing your weight. Going down is worse than going up. Your elevated heel hangs over the edge of each step, your toes grip desperately inside the shoe, and you concentrate with the intensity of someone defusing a bomb. But despite the danger, despite the impracticality, platforms make you feel powerful. They change your posture. You stand straighter, walk taller, take up more space. Your legs look longer, your silhouette more dramatic. When you wear platforms, you're not just taller, you're transformed. The styles are endless. Some platforms are open-toed, strappy sandals that show off your newly elevated feet. Others are closed, chunky boots that add weight and presence to every outfit. Some have clear plastic heels filled with glitter, water, even tiny fish. Some are wrapped in leather, others in fabric, some in metallic materials that catch the light. You see them everywhere. In discos, where dancers balance on platforms while moving to the beat, somehow defying both gravity and common sense. On city streets, where people navigate sidewalks with the confidence of tightrope walkers. In high schools, where teenagers teeter through hallways, platforms echoing against linoleum. And the best part? When you finally take them off at the end of the day, your feet touch the ground, and you feel like you're sinking into the earth. The floor seems impossibly close. Your normal height feels short, diminished, ordinary. For a moment you miss the elevation, the drama, the sheer audacity of walking through the world on shoes that were never meant to be practical. You miss feeling like you could touch the sky, even if it meant risking your ankles to get there. If the 1970s had an official fabric, it was polyester. Cheap, colourful, wrinkle-resistant and completely, utterly unbreathable. It clung to your body in the summer heat like a warm synthetic hug you never asked for. Polyester was everywhere. Shirts, pants, dresses, suits, even bed sheets. People wore it because it was affordable, easy to care for, and came in colours so vibrant they practically glowed. You pull a polyester shirt over your head and feel the fabric settle against your skin. It's smooth, almost slippery, with a texture that's neither quite like cotton nor quite like anything natural. The colours are impossibly bright, oranges that hurt to look at, yellows that seem radioactive, greens that don't exist in nature. The shirt fits snugly, clinging to your torso in a way that feels modern, sleek, futuristic. For the first 10 minutes, polyester feels fine. Great even. The fabric drapes nicely. It doesn't wrinkle. You look put together, polished, ready for whatever the day brings. But then the temperature rises. The sun beats down. Your body starts to warm up and suddenly you remember polyester's fatal flaw. It doesn't breathe. Heat builds between your skin and the fabric, trapped, with nowhere to go. Moisture begins to accumulate, a thin layer of sweat that the polyester refuses to absorb. Instead, it just sits there, dampening the fabric, creating dark patches under your arms, across your back, anywhere your body produces heat. You shift uncomfortably, trying to create airflow, but the polyester clings tighter. The scent is distinctive too. Polyester, when warm, smells synthetic, chemical, like melted plastic mixed with human effort. It's not quite unpleasant, but it's not natural either. It's the smell of the future, if the future is made entirely of petroleum byproducts. But you keep wearing it because everyone does. Because polyester shirts cost half what cotton costs. Because they come in patterns that make cotton look boring, geometric designs, swirling abstracts, bold stripes and clashing colours. Because when you wash them, they dry quickly, emerge from the dryer ready to wear, no ironing required. You see polyester everywhere, in department stores, entire racks devoted to synthetic fabrics in every colour imaginable. At parties, where everyone gleams slightly under the lights, their polyester outfits catching and reflecting light in ways natural fibres never could. At work, where polyester suits have become the uniform of the modern professional, affordable, presentable, slowly suffocating. The pants are the worst. Polyester pants fit snugly, often without pockets, or with pockets so shallow they're decorative. They make a soft swishing sound when you walk, fabric rubbing against fabric, announcing your presence before you enter a room. They're usually paired with polyester shirts, creating a head-to-toe synthetic experience that feels both coordinated and vaguely oppressive. Static electricity is a constant companion. You brush against metal and spark. You shake someone's hand and both of you flinch from the shock. The polyester builds up charge throughout the day, storing it, waiting for the perfect moment to zap you back to reality. Still, there's something appealingly modern about it all. Polyester feels like progress, like science solving the problems of fashion. Why deal with wrinkles when you can wear fabric that refuses to crease? Why waste time ironing when you can pull your clothes straight from the dryer and go? The discomfort is just the price of convenience, the trade-off for living in the future. And the future apparently is colourful, synthetic, and just a little bit sweaty. Then came the leisure suit, a fashion choice so bold, so divisive, that even people who wore them aren't entirely sure why. These matching polyester suits, usually in shades of tan, brown, or pastel blue, were designed for casual elegance. The jacket was soft, unstructured, almost cardigan-like. The pants matched perfectly, and the whole ensemble screamed, "I'm relaxed, I'm stylish, and I'm probably about to sweat through this." You stand in front of your closet and there it hangs, your leisure suit, a matching set that promised sophistication and delivered something else entirely. The colour is what people politely call caramel, what you privately call tan that's trying too hard. The fabric is polyester naturally, with a subtle sheen that catches light in unfortunate ways. You step into the pants first. They're cut loosely, comfortable around the waist, with a slight flare at the bottom that coordinates with the era's obsession with wider legs. The waistband sits high, almost at your natural waist, held up by a belt that matches the suit perfectly because matching is the whole point. Then comes the jacket. You slip your arms through the sleeves and immediately feel how different this is from traditional suits. There's no structure, no stiff lining, no shoulder padding. The jacket hangs softly, almost like a shirt, with wide lapels that spread across your chest like fabric wings. It's casual, they said. Sophisticated, they promised. You button it and feel like you're wearing pajamas to a business meeting. The whole outfit matches so completely it borders on obsessive. Same colour, same fabric, same sheen. You're a monochrome vision of beige polyester, unified from collar to cuff to ankle. The designers intended this to look pulled together, coordinated, effortlessly stylish. The result is that you look like you're wearing a costume for a role you didn't audition for. But here's the thing, everyone else is wearing them too. You step outside and see leisure suits everywhere, on men heading to work, to parties, to casual dinners. They come in every colour the polyester industry can produce. Powder blue suits that look like sky accidents, deep brown suits that resemble melted chocolate, cream-coloured suits that show, every stain, sage green suits that make people look vaguely ill. The comfort is real though. Unlike traditional suits with their rigid structures and tight fits, leisure suits move with you. The soft jacket doesn't restrict your shoulders. The loose pants don't bind. You can sit, stand, reach, bend, all without feeling constrained. It's business casual before business casual had a name. You pair it with a shirt underneath, usually something with a wide collar that spreads over the jacket lapels, often in a contrasting colour or pattern. The shirt is frequently unbuttoned just enough to show a glimpse of chest, sometimes adorned with a medallion on a chain, because subtlety died somewhere around 1972. The shoes matter too. You wear leather loafers or platform shoes, something that adds height and coordinates with the suit's casual but trying vibe. The whole outfit comes together into something that is neither formal nor truly casual, existing in an in-between space that the 70s invented and the 80s would mock mercilessly. Walking down the street, you catch your reflection in a store window. The leisure suit makes you look relaxed, approachable, like someone who might sell you a used car or invite you to a key party. The polyester gleams slightly in the afternoon sun. The matching pants and jacket create a unified silhouette that's unmistakably 70s. And despite everything, despite the questionable colour and the synthetic fabric and the style that's already starting to feel dated even as you wear it, there's something endearing about the leisure suit. It represents an era when people genuinely believed you could look sophisticated while being comfortable, when matching your jacket to your pants in the exact same fabric seemed like genius, when polyester was the future. It didn't last. But for a brief shining moment, the leisure suit made perfect sense. The 1970s didn't do modesty. Enter hot pants, shorts so short they made people do double takes, shorts that barely qualified as clothing, shorts that required confidence, courage, and possibly a complete disregard for what your grandmother thought. Women wore them everywhere, paired with knee-high boots, tights, or just sheer audacity. You pull them on and immediately understand why they're called hot pants. They end approximately 3 inches below your hip bone, maybe 4 if you're lucky. The fabric, usually denim, suede, or synthetic materials, cuts high on the leg, exposing thighs that haven't seen this much daylight since you were in diapers. There's barely any inseam to speak of. These aren't shorts, they're fabric suggestions. Standing in front of the mirror, you assess the situation. Your legs look impossibly long, stretched out beneath the tiny shorts like they go on forever. That's the appeal, of course. Hot pants create proportions that don't exist naturally, making your legs the main event, the focal point, the reason anyone looks twice. You pair them with knee-high boots because that's what everyone does. The boots add height, create a strong visual line from toe to thigh, and somehow make the whole outfit feel more intentional, less like you forgot to finish getting dressed. The gap between the top of the boot and the bottom of the shorts is pure skin, exposed leg, a stretch of thigh that becomes the statement. Moving in hot pants requires a different kind of awareness. You can't bend over carelessly. You can't sit without thinking about it first. Every movement is calculated, adjusted, modified to account for the fact that you're wearing approximately 6 inches of fabric pretending to be pants. Reaching for something on a high shelf? Strategic. Climbing stairs? A public performance? Getting in and out of a car? An Olympic event? But the freedom is intoxicating. No fabric restricting your movement, no heavy denim weighing you down, just you, your legs, and the confidence of someone who decided comfort and coverage are overrated. The air hits your skin, cool and direct. You feel lighter, faster, more aware of your own body. The reactions are immediate. People stare, some in admiration, some in shock, some in confusion about whether hot pants count as public decency. Older generations shake their heads, muttering about how things used to be different, how hemlines used to mean something. Your peers nod approvingly, recognizing the boldness, the commitment to the aesthetic. Hot pants come in every material imaginable. Denim cutoffs, frayed at the edges, casual and effortless. Suede shorts in earthy browns and tans, paired with fringe vests for maximum Bohemian impact. Satin hot pants in bright colours, worn to discos where the fabric catches the light with every movement. Corduroy versions for cooler weather, though calling any hot pants weather appropriate feels generous. You wear them with halter tops, with tube tops, with fitted shirts tied at the waist. The outfit is always skin forward, always leg focused, always designed to make an entrance. Accessories help. Wide belts cinched at the waist to create shape, long necklaces that draw the eye, oversized sunglasses that say you're too cool to care what anyone thinks. The practicality is non-existent. Pockets? Barely. Storage? Forget it. You carry a purse or you carry nothing. Hot pants aren't about function. They're about making a statement, about embracing a decade that celebrated the body, rejected old rules, and decided that if you've got it, flaunt it, and if you don't, flaunt it anyway. By the end of the day, your legs are tired from being the centre of attention. Your thighs have endured more scrutiny than they ever asked for. But you've walked through the world in hot pants, and that takes a kind of courage the previous generation never needed. You've participated in a fashion moment that will be remembered, mocked, and eventually revered as peak 70s boldness. And when you finally change into something with an actual inseam, you almost miss the audacity. Jumpsuits were the 1970s answer to the question nobody asked. What if we made getting dressed easier but using the bathroom infinitely harder? These one-piece wonders came in every fabric imaginable. Polyester, velour, denim, cotton, and every colour the human eye could process. They zipped up the front, clung to your body, and made you look like you were either ready for a disco or preparing to fix a spaceship. You step into the jumpsuit one leg at a time, pulling the fabric up over your hips, your waist, your torso, until you're standing there fully encased in a single continuous garment. The zipper runs from your navel to your collar, sometimes lower, sometimes higher, depending on how daring the designer felt. You zip it up and immediately feel the transformation, separate pieces of clothing replaced by one unified statement. The fit is everything. A good jumpsuit hugs your body in all the right places, creating a sleek silhouette that flows from shoulder to ankle without interruption. The waist is usually cinched, either built into the design or created with a belt, giving you shape, definition, a clear sense of where your torso ends and your legs begin. The fabric stretches as you move, accommodating your body while maintaining the clean lines that make jumpsuits so visually striking. Movement feels different in a jumpsuit. You're aware of the whole garment moving as one piece. When you raise your arms, the entire outfit shifts upward. When you sit, the fabric pulls across your thighs and settles into new positions. You're not wearing separate top and bottom. You're wearing a second skin that happens to be made of polyester and good intentions. The variety is staggering. Some jumpsuits are casual, made of soft cotton or denim, meant for weekend errands or lazy afternoons. Others are formal, crafted from satin or velour, designed for nights out, disco dancing, parties where everyone tries to out-glamour each other. Some have wide legs that flow like palazzo pants. Others are fitted all the way down, creating a streamlined shape that looks impossibly sleek. Colours range from subtle to seizure-inducing. Earth tones for the Bohemian crowd, browns and oranges and muted greens. Bright, bold primaries for those who want to be seen from space. Metallics for disco nights. Fabrics that shimmer and catch light, turning you into a human mirror ball. Patterns too. Stripes, geometric designs, abstract prints that make you look like walking modern art. But then comes the bathroom problem. You need to use the facilities, and suddenly you remember the fatal flaw of jumpsuit design. You can't just pull down pants. You have to unzip the entire garment, peel it off your shoulders, down your arms, lower it past your waist, and then somehow navigate the resulting fabric pulled around your ankles while you handle your business. It's acrobatic, it's time-consuming, it requires planning and flexibility and a willingness to basically get undressed in a public restroom. Despite this, jumpsuits dominate the decade. You see them everywhere. On television, where actors wear them in every scene that calls for casual sophistication. At parties, where guests arrive in jumpsuits that make regular clothing look boring. On the street, where people navigate daily life encased in one-piece outfits that make them look ready for anything except urgent bathroom needs. You pair yours with platform shoes for extra height, with a wide belt to emphasize your waist, with chunky jewelry that matches the jumpsuit's bold energy. The whole outfit comes together into something that feels modern, unified, futuristic in a very 70s way. And when you catch a reflection, You understand the appeal. The jumpsuit makes you look pulled together without trying too hard. It's one piece, one choice, one zipper, and suddenly you're dressed. No mixing, no matching, no wondering if you're top and bottom, coordinate. Just you, encased in fabric, looking like you stepped out of a fashion magazine or possibly a science fiction movie. The jumpsuit doesn't care about practicality. It cares about impact, about presence, about making you look like someone who has their life together, even if you're currently struggling with a zipper in a bathroom stall. And for the 1970s, that's more than enough. Not everything in the 70s was tight and synthetic. Maxi dresses brought a softer, more romantic vibe to the decade. These floor-length dresses flowed freely, swirling around your ankles as you walked, often made of lightweight cotton or gauzy fabrics that caught the breeze. Floral prints, paisley patterns, earthy tones, maxi dresses with a uniform of the Bohemian, the free spirit, the person who wanted to look effortlessly beautiful. You slip the maxi dress over your head and feel it cascade down your body, fabric falling in soft folds, settling around your frame like a gentle embrace. The hemline brushes your ankles, sometimes your feet, creating a sense of movement even when you're standing still. The dress is loose, flowing, the opposite of everything tight and restrictive the decade also offered. The fabric matters. Cotton maxis feel breathable, natural, soft against your skin in a way polyester never quite manages. They move with you, billowing slightly when you walk, creating an ethereal quality that makes every step feel graceful. Some are made of gauze, thin and nearly transparent, requiring slips underneath but creating beautiful layered effects. Others are heavier, more substantial, printed with bold patterns that turn the dress into wearable art. Prints dominate. Floral patterns, oversized blooms and colours that bleed into each other, petals and leaves spreading across the fabric. Paisley swirls, intricate designs that seem to move and shift as you walk. Geometric patterns, bold shapes in contrasting colours. Tie-dye, of course, swirling rainbows that no two dresses share exactly. Every maxi tells a story through its pattern, announces a mood, declares an aesthetic. The style is forgiving, welcoming. Maxi dresses work on every body type, skimming over curves rather than clinging, creating shape through drape rather than structure. The waist is often defined by a drawstring, an elastic band, or simply the natural fall of fabric. No boning, no zippers, no complicated fastenings, just fabric, body, and the freedom to move. Walking in a maxi dress feels different from walking in anything else. The skirt swirls around your legs with each step, fabric twisting and flowing, creating movement that's almost dance-like. You feel the hem brush against your ankles, the light weight of cotton or gauze trailing behind you. There's something romantic about it, something that makes you feel connected to earlier eras, to prairie women and Victorian heroines, updated for the 1970s. You pair them with simple sandals, flat or slightly heeled, often leather or woven materials that complement the dress's bohemian vibe. Jewellery is minimal or abundant depending on your mood. Long beaded necklaces, wooden bangles, thin headbands that keep hair off your face. The look is natural, earthy, unpretentious. The occasion doesn't matter. You wear maxi dresses to concerts in the park where you can sit on the grass without worrying about exposed legs. To casual dinners where the dress feels special without being formal. To beach days where the lightweight fabric doesn't trap heat. To protests and gatherings where comfort matters, but you still want to look intentional. The freedom is genuine. No restrictive waistbands, no tight hems, no fabric cutting into your skin. Just air moving around your legs, fabric flowing as you move, a gentle barrier between you and the world. You can sit cross-legged on the floor, stretch your arms overhead, bend and move without the dress fighting you. Colours tend toward earth tones and soft shades. Rust oranges, mustard yellows, olive greens, deep browns, cream, ivory, soft blues. The palette is warm, organic, grounded. Even the brighter colours feel natural, pulled from sunsets and gardens rather than chemistry labs. And when the breeze catches your maxi dress, lifting the hem slightly, creating movement in the fabric, you feel like you're part of the landscape rather than walking through it. The dress connects you to something slower, gentler, more romantic than the hustle of daily life. It's a rejection of the structured, the synthetic, the complicated. By the time you take it off at the end of the day, you've floated through hours in fabric that never constricted, never demanded, never required you to be anything other than comfortable. The maxi dress asks nothing of you except to exist inside it. And somehow that feels like the most radical fashion statement the 70s could offer. Not loudness or shock value, but softness, ease, and the quiet confidence of someone who chose comfort without sacrificing beauty. The 1970s had no fear of showing skin. Tube tops, strapless, backless, held up by sheer willpower and possibly a prayer, became a summer staple. These stretchy, elastic bands of fabric clung to your chest, leaving your shoulders, arms, and back completely exposed. They came in every colour, from basic black to neon pink, and were paired with everything from jeans to maxi skirts. You pull the tube top over your head, stretching the elastic fabric, positioning it carefully across your chest. The top grips your body, tension holding it in place. No straps, no support, just elastic and hope. You adjust it, making sure the band sits evenly, that the coverage is adequate, that everything stays where it's supposed to stay. The feeling is immediate and strange. Your shoulders are bare, completely exposed to air and sunlight. Your back is uncovered, skin meeting breeze without any barrier. Your arms hang free without straps, cutting into them. There's a nakedness to it, a vulnerability that comes from wearing something held up entirely by friction. You move carefully at first, testing the boundaries, raising your arms slightly to see if the top shifts, bending forward to check if gravity wins, twisting to see if the fabric rotates around your body. The tube top stays put, gripping tighter when you move, the elastic doing its job, defying physics through pure tension. The exposure is liberating. Sun hits your shoulders directly, warming skin that's usually covered. Breeze flows across your back, cooling you in ways regular shirts never allow. You feel lighter, less encumbered, more aware of your own body and how it moves through space. But tube tops demand constant vigilance. You can't forget you're wearing one. Every movement requires a mental check. Is everything still in place? Has the top shifted? Do you need to subtly adjust? It's like wearing a piece of clothing that requires active participation. A garment that only works if you're paying attention. The styles vary wildly. Some tube tops are thin, minimal, just enough fabric to cover what needs covering. Others are wider, offering more coverage, more security, more confidence. Some are ribbed, horizontal lines of fabric creating texture and grip. Others are smooth, solid colours that make bold statements. Patterns too, stripes, florals, geometric designs, tie-dye swirls. Colours span the entire spectrum, basic black for those who want sleek simplicity, white for maximum summer impact, bright pinks, oranges, yellows, greens, every colour fighting for attention, metallics that shimmer in disco lights, pastels for softer moods. The tube top simplicity makes it a perfect canvas for bold colour choices. You pair yours with high-waisted jeans, the denim sitting at your natural waist, creating a clean line where skin meets fabric, or with a maxi skirt, the long hemline balancing the bare shoulders, or with shorts doubling down on skin, exposure, committing fully to the summer aesthetic. A wide belt sometimes helps, cinching at the waist, adding structure, creating definition. Walking through the world in a tube top feels different. People look, some admiringly, some disapprovingly, some just curious about how the thing stays up. You feel the attention, the awareness that you're showing more skin than previous generations considered appropriate for public. But the 1970s don't care about previous generations. The decade celebrates the body, embraces exposure, rejects old rules about what should and shouldn't be covered. Tube tops are part of that revolution, small rebellions made of elastic and confidence. The drawbacks are real. Tan lines become weird, horizontal stripes across your back and chest where the tube top protected skin. The constant adjusting gets old. The lack of support becomes uncomfortable after hours of wear, and there's always the low-grade anxiety that physics will eventually win, that gravity will overcome elastic, that you'll experience a wardrobe malfunction in the worst possible moment. But for now, in this moment, walking down a summer street with the sun on your bare shoulders and the tube top holding strong, you feel undeniably 70s. You're part of a decade that pushed boundaries, celebrated freedom, and decided that sometimes the best fashion statement is the one that barely uses any fabric at all. The tube top is impractical, slightly absurd, and absolutely perfect for an era that valued boldness over common sense. And when you finally peel it off at the end of the day, the relief is matched only by the satisfaction of having pulled it off, literally and figuratively, for hours without incident. Fashion wasn't just about clothing. Hair in the 1970s was a statement all its own. The afro, a natural voluminous hairstyle, became a symbol of pride, power, and cultural identity. It required care, patience, and a pick comb that stayed tucked in, your hair like a badge of honour. The bigger the afro, the bolder the statement. You stand in front of the mirror, pick comb in hand, and work through your hair section by section. The teeth of the comb lift each strand, pulling upward and outward, creating volume, building height, expanding your hair into a cloud that surrounds your head like a halo. The process is meditative, rhythmic. The gentle scraping sound of the pick moving through your hair, becoming the soundtrack of your morning. The afro grows outward in all directions, defying gravity, refusing to lie flat or behave or conform to any previous decade standards of acceptable hair. It's big, deliberately, unapologetically big. The shape is rounded even, carefully maintained to create that perfect sphere of hair that sits atop your head like natural architecture. Maintaining an afro is an art form. You can't just wash and go. You moisturize, condition, oil your scalp, keeping everything healthy and hydrated. You protect it, at night with a silk scarf or bonnet, preserving the shape, preventing breakage. You pick it out regularly, maintaining volume, keeping the shape rounded and full. The hair becomes a responsibility, a commitment, a daily practice. The pick comb becomes an essential tool, almost an accessory. Some people keep theirs tucked into their afro, the handle sticking out, visible, a declaration that this hair is natural and requires specific tools. The pick has a fist on the handle, a symbol of power and solidarity, turning a hair tool into a political statement. The afro's meaning extends beyond aesthetics. It's a rejection of chemical straighteners, of heat damage, of trying to make natural hair conform to European beauty standards. It's an embrace of texture, of curl pattern, of hair exactly as it grows from the scalp. Wearing an afro in the 1970s is participating in a larger conversation about identity, beauty, and what it means to be black in America. The size varies. Some afros are modest, controlled, professional looking while still being natural. Others are enormous, pushing outward until they're wider than your shoulders, impossible to ignore. designed to take up space and demand attention. The bigger styles require more maintenance but make bigger statements. You move through the world with your afro and immediately notice the reactions. Pride from some, curiosity from others, occasionally hostility from those who see natural black hair as threatening or unprofessional. But the afro doesn't shrink from those reactions. It exists boldly, occupying space, refusing to apologize. The practical challenges are real. Doorways require ducking sometimes. Strong wind can disturb the shape, requiring emergency picking sessions. Hats don't fit. Headphones sit awkwardly. But these inconveniences are minor compared to the freedom of wearing your hair in its natural state. Afros work with everything. Dashikis and African-inspired clothing for cultural events, bell-bottoms and platform shoes for daily wear, formal attire for occasions that require sophistication. The hair becomes the centerpiece, the focal point, the thing people notice first and remember longest. Other hair trends emerge too. The shag cut, layered and feathered, frames faces with controlled chaos. The Farrah Fawcett wings, carefully blown out and curled, become the aspiration for straight-haired women. Long, centre-parted hair flowing down backs. But the afro stands apart, carrying cultural weight that other styles don't, representing more than just fashion. You accessorize carefully. Headbands in bright colours or African prints, worn across the forehead or higher up. Large hoop earrings that complement the hair's roundness. Scarves tied around the head for different looks, different moods. By the end of the day, your afro has weathered wind, movement, the world's attempts to compress it. You pick it out again, restoring volume, reshaping, maintaining. The ritual is calming, connecting you to everyone else going through the same process, everyone else choosing to wear their hair naturally. The afro is more than style. It's history, identity, resistance, pride, all growing from your scalp in spirals and coils. It's the 70s at its most politically charged, its most personally meaningful. And when you see your reflection, hair big and unapologetic, you see someone connected to a movement larger than fashion, someone who decided that natural is beautiful and volume is power. Accessories in the 70s were never subtle. Headbands weren't just functional, they were fashion. Silk scarves tied around your head, your neck, your wrist, anywhere fabric could be knotted. Oversized sunglasses covered half your face. Chunky jewellery, wooden beads, long necklaces, dangling earrings. Everything was big, bold, and designed to be noticed. You wrap a headband around your forehead, positioning it just above your eyebrows, securing your hair back while making a statement. The headband is wide, maybe an inch or two, covered in fabric that matches or deliberately clashes with your outfit. It sits there like a crown, like a declaration, like you're ready for anything from a tennis match to a revolution. Headbands come in endless varieties. Braided leather in earth tones for bohemian vibes, bright terry cloth for athletic energy, silk with patterns that shimmer and catch light, beaded versions that click softly when you move. Some are thin and subtle, others are wide enough to qualify as hat alternatives. You choose based on mood, outfit, how much you want your accessories to participate in the conversation. Next comes the scarf, silk preferably, in patterns so bold they could start arguments. You fold it into a triangle, drape it over your head, tie it under your chin like a 1950s housewife reimagined for the disco era. Or you wear it as a headband, folded thin, knotted at the back, ends flowing down, or around your neck, loose and casual, adding colour and movement, or tied to your purse, your belt loop, your wrist, anywhere that needs more pattern, more texture, more evidence that you understand accessories. The patterns are everything. Paisley swirls in colours that shouldn't work together but somehow do. Geometric designs that make your eyes work to follow the shapes. Floral prints so oversized the roses are bigger than your fist. Abstract art that turns the scarf into wearable confusion. The silk feels luxurious, expensive even when it's not, elevating any outfit from ordinary to intentional. Sunglasses enter the scene, massive frames that cover a third of your face. The lenses are huge, darkly tinted, often in unexpected colours. Blue, rose, amber, turning the world into filtered versions of itself. The frames are equally bold, thick plastic in bright colours, oversized shapes that border on architectural, details like rhinestones or metal accents that catch light. You put them on and immediately feel transformed. The world dims, softens, becomes more manageable through tinted lenses. Your face changes too, features obscured behind all that plastic and glass, expression hidden, mysterious, Hollywood adjacent. You look like someone who has secrets, someone important enough to hide behind designer frames or cheap knockoffs trying to look expensive. Jewellery demands attention next. You layer necklaces, multiple chains of varying lengths, some delicate, some chunky, creating a cascade of metal and beads across your chest. Wooden beads in earth tones, natural and organic. Metal medallions on leather cords, often with symbols, peace signs, zodiac signs, initials. Long chains that hang past your sternum, sometimes to your waist, swaying with every movement. Earrings dangle, always. Hoops so big they brush your shoulders. Chandelier styles that sparkle and move, catching light, drawing attention to your face. Feather earrings, actual feathers dangling from your earlobes, adding movement and texture. The bigger the earring, the bolder the statement. Bracelets stack up your arms. Bangles, multiple thin metal circles that clink together when you move, creating percussion with every gesture. Leather cuffs, wide and studded, adding edge. Beaded bracelets in friendship-style patterns, homemade or carefully store-bought to look homemade. Your wrists become exhibitions of accumulated accessories, stories told in metal and thread. Belts aren't just functional, they're wide, made of leather or suede, often with enormous buckles that serve as focal points. You cinch them around your waist over dresses, creating shape, around your hips over pants, sitting at an angle, casual and deliberate. The buckle is substantial, metal worked into shapes, sometimes with stones, sometimes just polished and bold. You stand back and assess. The headband frames your face. The scarf adds movement and colour. The sunglasses create mystery. The necklaces layer across your chest. The earrings catch every head turn. The bracelets announce every gesture. The belt defines your silhouette. You're not wearing accessories. You're wearing commitment to the aesthetic. Proof that you understand that in the 1970s, more is more and subtle is surrender. The whole ensemble works together, creating a look that's unmistakably, undeniably 70s. Every piece chosen deliberately, layered thoughtfully, combined into something that's greater than the sum of its parts. You don't just look accessorized, you look armoured, decorated, ready to walk through the world as your own work of art. Denim wasn't just for jeans anymore. The 1970s took denim and stretched it across every possible garment. Jackets, vests, skirts, overalls, even dresses. People wore denim on denim, head to toe, without a second thought. This was the era of the Canadian tuxedo, a look that today would require irony, but back then was just Tuesday. You open your closet and it's a wall of blue, denim in every shade from pale, nearly whitewash to deep indigo so dark it's almost black. The fabric is everywhere, heavy cotton twill woven into every piece of clothing you own. You reach for a denim shirt, button it up, then pull on denim jeans, and suddenly you're wearing the uniform of the decade. The denim shirt is soft from washing, broken in, the kind of comfortable that only comes from repeated wear. The collar sits flat, the sleeves roll up to your elbows, the fit is relaxed, easy, unpretentious. You add a denim vest over it because why stop at one layer when you can have two? The vest is sleeveless, adding dimension without weight, pockets offering places to store things you'll never actually put there. The jeans underneath are standard issue, straight leg or slightly flared, sitting at your natural waist, worn enough that the colour has faded in the right places. Knees, thighs, rear, anywhere the fabric creases and wears. The denim is thick, substantial, real cotton that will last for years if you let it. Then comes the jacket. The denim jacket is iconic, essential, the piece that pulls the whole look together or pushes it completely over the edge depending on who's looking. You shrug it on and feel the weight of it, heavier than modern jackets, sturdy enough to serve as both fashion and protection. The collar stands up slightly, the metal buttons catch light, the pockets are deep and functional. Now you're fully committed. Denim shirt, denim vest, denim jeans, denim jacket. You're a monochrome vision of blue cotton, a walking advertisement for Levi's and every other denim manufacturer in America. The look should be too much, should be overwhelming, should be a fashion disaster. But somehow, in the 1970s, it works. The shades don't even match perfectly. The shirt is lighter than the vest. The jeans are darker than the jacket. Each piece has its own wash, its own wear pattern, its own history. But that's part of the appeal. The mismatch feels intentional, curated, like you carefully selected each piece from different sources and brought them together through sheer confidence. You see denim everywhere. On construction workers and college students, on mothers and musicians, on people who've never agreed on anything else but somehow all chose denim. Department stores devote entire floors to it. Boutiques arrange it by wash, by cut, by style. The fabric has transcended its workwear origins to become the democratic uniform of the decade. Denim skirts appear, cut from the same cloth as jeans but ending at the knee or higher, sometimes with slits, sometimes with buttons down the front. Women pair them with denim tops, creating feminine versions of the Canadian tuxedo, proving the look isn't gender-specific. Denim dresses emerge too, one-piece garments made entirely of the heavy cotton, often with belt loops, chest pockets, snap buttons running down the front. They look like someone took a denim shirt and extended it downward, until it became a dress. It's casual, comfortable, and undeniably 70s. Overalls make a comeback, not just for farmers anymore, but for everyone. Denim overalls with wide legs, with adjustable straps, with pockets on the chest, worn over turtlenecks or t-shirts or occasionally nothing, depending on how bold you're feeling. You walk down the street in your head-to-toe denim and catch a reflection in a store window. The look is cohesive in its absurdity, unified in its commitment. You look like someone who woke up and decided that denim was not just a fabric choice, but a lifestyle, a philosophy, a complete rejection of variety. And the beautiful thing is, nobody questions it. The Canadian tuxedo isn't a joke yet. It's just fashion, just the way people dress, just the natural evolution of a decade that decided if denim was good for one piece of clothing, it was good for all of them. The irony will come later, in future decades, when people look back and wonder what everyone was thinking. But right now, wearing denim on denim on denim, you're not thinking at all, you're just dressed. In 1974, designer Diane von Furstenberg introduced the wrap dress, and fashion was never the same. This simple, elegant design wrapped around your body and tied at the waist, creating a flattering silhouette for nearly every body type. It was chic, comfortable, and didn't require a degree in engineering to put on. You hold the dress, examining its deceptive simplicity. It's one piece of fabric with two sides that overlap and tie together. No zippers, no buttons, no complicated fastenings, Just wrap and tie. The concept is so straightforward you wonder why nobody thought of it before, and then you put it on and understand why it's revolutionary. You slip your arms through the sleeves, wrap the left side across your body, then the right side over it. Pull in the attached ties around to your side or back, securing them in a bow or knot. The dress adjusts to your body as you tie it, tightening or loosening based on how you knot the ties. It's customizable, personal, adaptable in ways most dresses aren't. The fit is immediately flattering. The wrap creates a V neckline that elongates your torso, draws the eye upward, frames your face. The tie at the waist creates definition, giving you shape regardless of your natural proportions. The skirt portion falls smoothly over your hips, skimming rather than clinging, forgiving in all the right ways. The fabric matters. Von Furstenberg's original designs used jersey, a knit material that drapes beautifully, doesn't wrinkle, travels well, and moves with your body. The fabric has weight but isn't heavy, has structure but isn't stiff. It falls in soft folds, creating elegant lines that look expensive even when they're not. Patterns dominate the wrap dress aesthetic. Bold geometric prints, swirling abstracts, graphic florals, designs that command attention. The prints serve a purpose beyond decoration. They distract from any perceived figure flaws, create visual interest, make the dress feel special rather than simple. The colours are often rich, jewel tones or bold primaries, combinations that pop. You move in the dress and feel its intelligence. When you walk, the wrap stays closed, held by the tension of the tie and the overlap of fabric. When you sit, it adjusts, shifting to accommodate your new position without revealing anything. It's modest without being prudish, sexy without being obvious, sophisticated without being stuffy. The versatility is stunning. You wear it to the office with closed-toe heels and it looks professional, appropriate, put together. You wear it to dinner with strappy sandals and statement jewellery and it looks dressy, elegant, intentional. You wear it during the day with flat sandals and a denim jacket and it looks casual, effortless, like you threw something on and somehow nailed it. The wrap dress works for every body type, which is radical for the 1970s. Too many styles of the decade favour specific shapes. Hot pants require long legs, tube tops require confidence, jumpsuits require proportion. The wrap dress just requires a body, any body. It adapts, it accommodates, it flatters through design rather than restriction. Women embrace it immediately. Suddenly closets fill with wrap dresses in different prints, different colours, different sleeve lengths. The silhouette becomes iconic, recognisable, a uniform for women who want to look polished without suffering. You can spot a wrap dress from across a room, that distinctive V-neck, that tied waist, that easy elegance. The dress travels beautifully too. You can fold it, pack it, pull it out of a suitcase and it looks fine, maybe a little wrinkled but nothing catastrophic. For women travelling for work or pleasure, this is freedom. No more carefully hanging dresses, no more ironing in hotel rooms, no more panic about crushing delicate fabrics. You wear your wrap dress through the day and never once feel uncomfortable. No waistband cutting into your skin, no zipper pressing against your spine, no fabric restricting your movement. The dress moves with you, breathes with you, adjusts as you adjust. It's intelligent clothing, designed by a woman who understood what women actually need from their clothes. By the end of the decade, the wrap dress has become more than a trend. It's a staple, a classic, something that will outlast the 70s and continue into future decades as one of the era's genuine contributions to fashion. But right now, wearing one for the first time, you just feel good. You feel like yourself, only slightly more elegant, slightly more confident, slightly more ready to handle whatever the day brings. And that, more than any other piece of clothing the 70s produced, feels revolutionary. When disco exploded in the mid-70s, so did its fashion. Sequins, satin, metallic fabrics, everything that caught the light on a dance floor became essential. Disco fashion was about shimmer, about movement, about looking like you were born under a mirror ball. Halter tops, wide-leg pants, body-hugging jumpsuits, all in fabrics that sparkled. You pull the sequined top over your head and immediately understand the assignment. The fabric is covered in tiny plastic or metal discs, each one catching light from a different angle, creating a surface that seems to move even when you're standing still. The sequins scratch slightly against your skin, rough and unforgiving, but the effect is worth the discomfort. The disco outfit demands shine. Your pants are satin, fabric so smooth it slides between your fingers like liquid, in a colour that has no business being this bright. Maybe silver, maybe gold, maybe electric blue that looks like lightning trapped in thread. The satin catches every light source, reflects it back, makes your legs look like they're glowing from within. You add platform shoes because disco and platforms are inseparable, wedded together by the dance floor, by the need for height, by the aesthetic of more is more. The platforms are covered in glitter or metallic material, adding another reflective surface to your ensemble. Every part of you now catches light, throws it back, participates in the visual cacophony. The halter top ties behind your neck, leaving your shoulders and back bare, maximizing skin exposure while keeping everything secure enough for dancing. The fabric is usually metallic, clingy, designed to move with your body, to shimmer with every breath, every shoulder roll, every subtle shift of weight. Movement is everything in disco fashion. The clothes are designed to catch light in motion, to create visual trails as you dance, to turn your body into a moving light show. The sequins flash different colours depending on angle. The satin ripples and shines. The metallic fabrics create reflections that bounce around the room. Wide-leg pants flow as you move, the fabric swishing with each step, creating drama, creating presence, making you impossible to ignore. Some are so wide they're practically skirts, fabric panels that separate into legs only technically. You walk, and the pants billow, creating movement that makes every entrance an event. Jumpsuits return but elevated, transformed, covered in sequins or made from satin, or featuring metallic threads woven through the fabric. These aren't the casual jumpsuits of daytime wear. These are armour for the dance floor, suits designed for performance, for being seen, for commanding attention in a room full of people all trying to outshine each other. The colours are bold, unapologetic. Hot pink satin that glows under blacklight, gold lame that turns you into a human trophy, silver that makes you look like you stepped out of a science fiction movie, purple so deep it's almost black until the light hits it, electric blue that hurts to look at directly. These aren't colours that apologise. Accessories amp up the shine. Chunky jewellery, in gold or silver, thick chains, large earrings that catch light and throw it back. Headbands covered in sequins or metallic thread. Belts with massive buckles that reflect like mirrors. Even your purse is probably covered in something shimmery, something that participates in the light show. You step into the disco and the lights hit you, spinning mirror ball fragments, strobes, coloured spotlights, all designed to interact with exactly what you're wearing. Your outfit becomes part of the room's lighting design, reflecting and refracting, creating patterns on the walls and ceiling, turning you into a moving light source. The dance floor is packed with similar visions. People covered in shine, in shimmer, in fabrics that refuse to stay still under the lights. Everyone is competing and cooperating simultaneously, each outfit adding to the collective sparkle, the shared commitment to maximum visual impact. Sweat becomes an issue quickly. Sequins don't breathe. Satin clings when wet. Metallic fabrics trap heat. But you endure because looking good matters more than feeling comfortable. You dance anyway, the outfit becoming heavier, the sequins sticking to your skin, the satin darkening with moisture. Still, you shine. The fabric feels different when you move. Sequins scratch against each other, creating a soft rustling sound beneath the music. Satin slides across your skin, cool and slippery. Metallic fabrics crinkle slightly, adding texture to every gesture. Your clothes make sounds, contribute to the sensory experience beyond the visual. By the end of the night, you're exhausted, possibly dehydrated, covered in glitter that will take days to fully remove. Sequins have fallen off, leaving small bald patches in your top. The satin is wrinkled and damp. But you looked incredible. You know you did. Because disco fashion isn't about comfort or practicality. It's about transformation, about becoming light itself, about refusing to be ignored in a room full of people all screaming, "Look at me," through their clothes. The Bohemian influence on 70s fashion brought ponchos into the mainstream. These loose flowing garments, often made of knit or crochet, draped over your body like a blanket with sleeves. Fringe dangled from everything. Jackets, vests, bags, boots. Movement became part of the outfit, every step accompanied by a gentle sway of fabric. You pull the poncho over your head and feel it settle around your shoulders, a tent of fabric that covers you without constraining you. The knit is thick, substantial, warm enough to serve as outerwear, but light enough not to feel oppressive. Geometric patterns weave through the fabric, earth tones and natural colours creating designs that feel timeless, ancient, borrowed from cultures that understood textiles long before fashion became an industry. The poncho hangs loosely, no defined waist, no structure, just fabric draped over your frame. Your arms emerge from slits or openings on the sides, free to move, unrestricted. The bottom hem falls unevenly, longer in front and back, shorter on the sides, creating interesting lines, asymmetry that feels intentional. Movement in a poncho is different. You're aware of the fabric shifting around you, settling and resettling with each step. When you raise your arms, the poncho lifts with you, creating a wing-like effect, fabric spreading outward. When you sit, it bunches and folds, creating new shapes, new silhouettes. The texture varies. Some ponchos are tightly knit, smooth, refined, suitable for occasions that require a certain polish. Others are loosely crocheted, full of holes and open spaces, more decorative than functional, beautiful but not particularly warm. The handmade aesthetic dominates. Even mass-produced ponchos try to look like someone crafted them lovingly by hand. Fringe enters the picture, attached to everything. Your poncho has fringe along the bottom edge, long strands of yarn that sway when you walk, creating movement, adding visual interest, turning a simple garment into something dynamic. The fringe brushes against your legs, tickles slightly, makes soft swishing sounds as the strands move against each other. Suede jackets feature fringe across the back, along the sleeves. Anywhere fringe can be attached. The leather strands hang down, decorated sometimes with beads, creating weight, creating sound, creating the sense that your clothing is alive, responsive, participating in your movement. You turn quickly, and the fringe follows a beat behind, catching up, swinging into place. Fringe on bags dangles and sways, turning a simple purse into a statement piece. The strands hang long, sometimes reaching a foot or more, decorated with wooden beads, metal accents, anything that adds weight and makes the fringe swing more dramatically. You walk, and the bag bounces slightly against your hip, fringe swaying in rhythm. Even boots get the fringe treatment. Suede boots with fringe running up the sides, creating Movement at ground level, turning every step into a small performance. The fringe kicks forward as you walk, settles back when you stop, adds dimension to an outfit from unexpected angles. The Bohemian aesthetic embraces natural materials, natural colours, natural everything. Your poncho is probably made of wool or cotton, dyed in earth tones. Browns, tans, oranges, deep reds, mustard yellows. The patterns are geometric or inspired by Native American designs, borrowed sometimes, appropriated without full understanding, but embraced with genuine appreciation by a generation seeking connection to something more authentic than polyester. You layer the poncho over other clothes, jeans and t-shirts, long skirts and peasant blouses, whatever serves as your base. The poncho becomes the statement piece, the layer that transforms an ordinary outfit into something intentional, styled, bohemian. The look works for different occasions. Casual enough for weekend errands, interesting enough for concerts and gatherings, warm enough for cool evenings around bonfires or outdoor events. The poncho is versatile in ways more structured clothing isn't, adapting to whatever you need it to be. Fringe maintenance becomes part of your routine. The strands tangle, knot together, collect debris. You spend time separating them, combing through them with your fingers, keeping them flowing freely. It's meditative work, caring for your fringe, maintaining the movement that makes it special. The sound of fringe becomes familiar. The soft whisper of suede strands brushing together, the clicking of beads knocking against each other, the rustle of yarn fringe on a poncho hem. Your clothes make music as you move, quiet but constant, a soundtrack to your day. You catch your reflection wearing a poncho with fringe on your bag, your boots, maybe your vest too. You look like you're ready for a folk concert or a commune, or possibly just a Tuesday in the 1970s when looking like you might join a commune at any moment is perfectly normal. The poncho drapes around you like comfort, like belonging, like a rejection of everything tight and synthetic and structured. And the fringe, swaying with every movement, reminds you that fashion doesn't have to be still, doesn't have to be silent, doesn't have to be anything except whatever makes you feel connected to something real. Turtlenecks weren't just for winter. In the 1970s, they were layered under everything. Vests, blazers, jumpers, even summer dresses. Tight, form-fitting, often in bold colours or patterns, turtlenecks added a sleek mod vibe to any outfit. They were practical, stylish, and required a certain tolerance for fabric pressing against your neck all day. You pull the turtleneck over your head, working it down past your face, feeling the fabric stretch over your skull before settling around your neck. The collar is high, thick, a cylinder of fabric that rises up to your jawline, sometimes higher, creating a barrier between your skin and the world. You tuck your chin and feel the fabric compress slightly, then release as you straighten up. The fit is everything. Turtlenecks are meant to be close-fitting, hugging your torso, your arms, your neck, creating clean lines without bulk. The fabric is usually a knit, something with stretch, something that conforms to your body without requiring darts or complicated tailoring. You feel contained, wrapped, enclosed in the turtleneck in ways that regular shirts never achieve. The neck itself takes adjustment. At first, the fabric feels restrictive, too tight, too much. You resist the urge to pull at it, to stretch it away from your skin. But after a few minutes, you adapt. The pressure becomes normal, barely noticeable, just part of wearing a turtleneck. Some days it feels comforting, like a gentle hug around your neck. Other days it feels like slow strangulation. Colours range from basic to bold. Black turtlenecks are everywhere, sleek and sophisticated, creating a beatnik artist vibe that works for everyone from college students to advertising executives. But the 70s don't stop at basic. Burnt orange turtlenecks, mustard yellow, forest green, burgundy, colours that make statements that refuse to fade into the background. Patterns appear too. Striped turtlenecks, horizontal lines wrapping around your torso and arms. Fair Isle patterns with geometric designs in multiple colours. Turtlenecks with bold prints, florals or abstracts, turning the simple garment into something eye-catching. The layering possibilities are endless. You wear a turtleneck under a vest, the sleeves showing, the neck creating a base layer that adds warmth and style. Under a blazer, giving professional attire a casual twist, softening the formality with a turtleneck's relaxed vibe. Under jumper dresses, providing coverage, adding colour, solving the problem of what to wear underneath. Some people layer turtlenecks under summer dresses, which sounds absurd but somehow works. The dress is sleeveless, light, airy. The turtleneck underneath adds sleeves, adds coverage, creates contrast between the heavy knit and the light dress fabric. It shouldn't work, but in the 70s, it does. The sleeves are important. They're long, fitted, ending at your wrists, often with slight flare or gathering. You push them up to your elbows for a casual look, creating bunched fabric that adds texture and visual interest. Or you wear them down, smooth and sleek, tucked into long gloves for extra drama if you're feeling particularly 70s. Wearing a turtleneck all day requires commitment. By afternoon, you're acutely aware of the fabric around your neck, the constant gentle pressure that never quite disappears. It affects how you move your head, how you swallow, how you breathe. You can't forget you're wearing it. The practical benefits are real. Turtlenecks eliminate the need for scarves in mild weather, providing warmth without extra accessories. They create modesty, covering your neck and chest completely, allowing you to wear lower-cut vests or blazers without revealing too much skin. They're easy to care for, usually machine washable, resilient to wrinkles. You see turtlenecks everywhere in the 70s, on television, where actors wear them in every scene that doesn't require formal dress. On the street, layered under denim jackets and leather vests, in offices paired with wide-leg pants and platform shoes, at parties, in bold colours that coordinate or clash deliberately with the rest of the outfit. The turtleneck becomes a neutral base, a foundation piece that works with everything while adding its own character. It's not invisible the way a plain t-shirt might be. The high neck demands attention, frames your face, makes every outfit look considered, intentional. By the time you pull the turtleneck off at the end of the day, your neck feels suddenly exposed, cold, vulnerable. The air hits your skin, and you notice its absence immediately. Your hair is probably messed up from pulling the tight collar over your head. Static electricity makes everything stick. But for hours you looked pulled together, polished, distinctly 70s in that specific way that only a form-fitting turtleneck can achieve. If you close your eyes and imagine the 1970s, certain colours immediately come to mind. Burnt orange, mustard yellow, avocado green, harvest gold, deep brown. These earth tones dominated everything from clothing to home decor. The palette was warm, organic, grounded, a rejection of the bright pastels of the 60s. You open your closet and it looks like autumn exploded inside. Every piece of clothing comes in shades pulled from nature at its most muted. Rust, ochre, olive, tan, chocolate, colours that feel ancient, timeless, connected to soil and trees and sunsets viewed through dust. Your shirt is burnt orange, a colour that sits between red and brown, warm and intense, without being bright. The fabric glows slightly in certain light, catches fire visually, makes your skin look either tan and healthy or vaguely jaundiced depending on your complexion and the angle of the sun. You wear it anyway because burnt orange is essential to the decade. The pants are mustard yellow, a colour with unfortunate name recognition but undeniable presence. The yellow is muted, mixed with brown, creating something that doesn't quite scream but definitely speaks loudly. The polyester fabric holds the colour intensely, refusing to fade, committed to being aggressively mustard until the end of time. You add a vest in avocado green, a shade that home appliances made famous, that nature produced in limited quantities, but the 70s mass-produced with enthusiasm. The green is dark, slightly grey, earthy in a way that bright lime never achieved. It coordinates with nothing and everything simultaneously. The colour combination shouldn't work. Orange and yellow and green together should create visual chaos, should hurt the eyes, should violate basic principles of colour theory. But in earth tones, muted and grounded, the combination feels cohesive. The colours share warmth, share connection to natural elements, share a palette that rejects the cool blues and pinks of previous decades. Harvest gold appears everywhere, a yellow-orange that seems pulled from wheat fields at peak readiness, from sunrise through morning fog, from optimism tinged with realism. It dominates kitchen appliances, bathroom fixtures, curtains, bedspreads. You can't escape harvest gold in the 70s, even if you try. Deep brown anchors everything, appearing in every possible shade from coffee to chocolate to bark to rich soil. Brown pants, brown jackets, brown shoes, brown belts. The decade embraces brown without apology, elevates it from boring neutral to signature colour. Everything looks better with brown somewhere in the outfit. The colours extend beyond clothing into every aspect of life. Your living room furniture is upholstered in burnt orange and brown plaid. The kitchen cabinets are avocado green. The bathroom tiles are harvest gold. The shag carpet is rust-coloured, collecting every piece of dirt in a shade already dirty-looking. Your entire environment exists within this warm, earthy spectrum. These colours create mood, atmosphere, a sense of being grounded even when everything feels chaotic. The palette rejects the space-age bright whites and silvers of the 60s, rejects the pastels of the 50s, chooses instead to root itself in nature, in earth, in colours that feel substantial and real. You see these colours on everyone, in every context. Professional settings where burnt orange blazers are considered appropriate business wear. Casual environments where mustard yellow t-shirts pair with avocado green shorts without anyone questioning the combination. Formal events where deep brown suits provide sophisticated alternatives to traditional black or navy. The colour choices reflect something larger, a generation seeking connection to nature, to authenticity, to something more grounded than the synthetic optimism of previous decades. Earth tones feel honest, real, less manufactured, even when they're dyed into polyester and mass-produced. The palette has limitations. Not every skin tone looks good in these colours. Mustard yellow can drain colour from pale faces. Avocado green can clash with certain hair colours. Burnt orange demands confidence and the right complexion to pull off without looking washed out or overwhelmed. But the decade doesn't care about individual colouring. The earth tone palette is universal, democratic, expected. You adapt your shades within the acceptable range, finding your version of burnt orange, your take on harvest gold, your personal relationship with avocado green. By the late 70s, these colours are so ubiquitous, they've become invisible through overexposure. Everyone's living room looks the same, everyone's wardrobe shares the same basic palette. The earth tones that felt revolutionary and natural now feel dated, overdone, ready to be replaced by the brighter, bolder colours the 80s will bring. But right now, standing in your burnt orange shirt and mustard yellow pants and avocado green vest, you look completely, perfectly, unmistakably 70s. Halter tops tied around your neck, left your back bare and required confidence. These tops came in every fabric and style, from casual cotton to glamorous satin, and were paired with everything from jeans to flowing skirts. The appeal was simple. They were sexy, summery, and showed off your tan. You lift the halter top and examine the construction. 2 triangular pieces of fabric connect to straps that tie behind your neck, leaving your shoulders, arms, and entire back exposed. There's no coverage, no support beyond what the tie provides, no safety net. You put it on and immediately understand that halter tops are as much about attitude as fabric. You slip your arms through, position the fabric across your chest, reach behind your neck to tie the straps together. The knot needs to be secure enough to hold everything in place, but loose enough to remain comfortable. You adjust, testing the tension, making sure the tie sits flat against your neck without cutting into your skin. The exposure is immediate and dramatic. Your shoulders are bare, completely uncovered, available for sun or air or admiring glances. Your back is naked from neck to wherever the halter top ends, usually at your mid-back or lower. When you move, you feel air across your skin, constant awareness of how much of you is uncovered. The fabric varies wildly. Cotton halter tops are casual, comfortable, perfect for beach days or backyard barbecues. They're soft, breathable, kind to sunburned shoulders. Satin halters are evening wear, sleek and shimmering, meant for discos and dates, for occasions that require shine and sophistication. Crochet halters appear too, handmade or made to look handmade, featuring open weave patterns that provide coverage while allowing skin to peek through the holes. They're bohemian, artistic, the kind of thing you'd wear to a folk concert or a craft fair, paired with jeans and leather sandals. The tie around your neck carries all the weight of the garment. Throughout the day you feel it there, pulling slightly, reminding you that your top is held up by a single knot. You check it periodically, making sure it hasn't loosened, that everything remains secure. There's a low-level anxiety unique to halter tops, the knowledge that structural failure is always one untied knot away. Halter tops require strategic bra decisions. Traditional bras don't work, their straps would show. Some halter tops have built-in support, light padding or underwire providing minimal assistance. Others offer nothing, requiring you to either go braless or wear a specialized halter bra with neckties that coordinate with the top's construction. The tan line situation becomes critical. If you're wearing halter tops regularly, your tan develops accordingly. Dark shoulders and back, pale stripes where the neck ties protected skin from sun. It's a distinctive pattern, proof of summer spent in halters, evidence of the decade's dedication to sun exposure without sunscreen. You pair halter tops with high-waisted jeans, the denim sitting at your natural waist, creating a clean line between fabric and skin. Or with maxi skirts, the long hemline balancing the exposed top half. Or with shorts, doubling down on skin exposure, committing fully to the summer aesthetic. Movement in a halter top requires awareness. You can't raise your arms too high without the top shifting, potentially revealing more than intended. You can't bend forward carelessly, gravity being what it is. Every gesture is calculated, controlled, modified to account for the minimal coverage. The back exposure is liberating and vulnerable. Simultaneously, you feel the sun directly on your spine, the breeze across your shoulder blades, but you're also aware of being looked at, of the eyes drawn to bare skin, of the attention that comes with wearing something this revealing. Halter tops come in every colour, every pattern. Solid brights for maximum impact, florals for feminine energy, geometric prints for bold statements, tie-dye for bohemian vibes. The style is simple enough that the fabric does the talking, creates the personality, defines the mood. You wear your halter top through a summer day and collect sensory experiences impossible in regular shirts. The sun warming your shoulders, heating your back, creating that delicious feeling of stored sunlight. The occasional breeze cooling sweat, creating momentary relief, the awareness of fabric against skin, minimal but constant. By evening, your shoulders might be pink, your back slightly burned, the inevitable consequence of so much exposure, but you've spent the day in a halter top, participated in one of the 70s most enduring fashion statements, proven that sometimes the best thing clothing can do is get out of the way and let your body be the statement. The halter top isn't trying to add shape or structure or coverage. It's trying to subtract, to minimize, to reduce fashion to its essential elements: fabric, tie, confidence, and the willingness to show up half-dressed and call it style. Belts in the 70s weren't delicate little straps. They were wide, bold, often made of leather or suede, and cinched tightly around the waist to create an hourglass silhouette. These belts turned simple dresses into statement pieces, adding structure and drama to flowing fabrics. You hold the belt and feel its weight. The leather is thick, substantial, 3 inches wide or more, cut from a single piece of hide, and worked until it's supple enough to bend but stiff enough to hold shape. The buckle is massive, metal worked into geometric shapes or left, plain and polished, designed to be a focal point, a piece of jewellery at your waist. You wrap the belt around your middle, pulling it tight, cinching your waist in ways that create immediate silhouette change. Your body reshapes, narrowing at the middle, creating definition, giving structure to outfits that otherwise flow freely. The belt pulls everything together, literally, compression that borders on corsetry. The leather sits against your clothing, sometimes against your skin if you're wearing it over a thin dress. You feel the pressure, constant and unyielding, the belt refusing to stretch or give. It holds you, contains you, creates a defined waist whether or not you naturally have one. The buckle fastens with a satisfying click, metal sliding into place, securing the belt at exactly the right tightness. You adjust it throughout the day as your body shifts, as you eat, as you move, finding the balance between definition and breathing. Wide belts transform outfits. A loose, flowing maxi dress becomes structured when you add a belt, the fabric gathering at your waist, creating shape, preventing the dress from looking shapeless. A tunic top that hangs straight gets form when cinched, the belt creating a clear division between top and bottom. The placement varies. Some wear belts at the natural waist, the narrowest part of the torso, traditional placement that creates classic proportions. Others wear them lower, sitting on the hips, creating a dropped waist effect, elongating the torso. Some even wear them higher, just below the bust, empire waist style, though this is less common in the 70s. Colours and materials span the spectrum. Brown leather belts, classic and versatile, working with everything. Black belts for contrast and drama. Suede belts in earth tones, soft and textured, bohemian and artistic. Belts with braiding, with tooling, with decorative elements that make them mini sculptures at your waist. The buckles demand attention. Oversized, metal shapes, sometimes with Western influences, sometimes geometric and modern. Brass buckles that develop patina over time, silver buckles that shine and catch light, ornate buckles with turquoise or other stones set into the metal, turning the belt into statement jewellery. You coordinate belts with outfits carefully. A wide brown leather belt over a burnt orange dress, creating contrast and definition. A black belt cinching a mustard yellow tunic, adding edge and structure. A braided belt over a flowing peasant dress, enhancing the bohemian aesthetic. The belt creates a focal point, drawing the eye to your waist, making it the centre of the outfit. Everything else arranges itself around that cinched middle, fabric flowing above it, fabric draping below it, the belt serving as anchor and separator. Movement in a wide belt requires adjustment. You can't bend at the waist as easily. the stiff leather restricting flexibility. Sitting becomes an event, the belt pressing into your stomach, sometimes requiring loosening a notch for comfort. You're constantly aware of it, this band of leather holding you together. But the silhouette is worth the discomfort. Wide belts create proportions that flatter, that add shape where there might be none, that turn loose, comfortable clothing into something intentional and styled. They allow the decade to embrace flowing fabrics, relaxed fits, while still maintaining definition and structure. You see wide belts everywhere. On women cinching shirt dresses, creating waists on otherwise straight garments. Over cardigans and long vests, adding shape to knitwear. With jumpsuits, emphasizing the waist, preventing the one-piece outfit from looking shapeless. Men wear them too, wide leather belts with substantial buckles, sitting on hips rather than waists, holding up jeans, making statements through leather and metal rather than words. The belt becomes part of your body throughout the day, so constant you forget it's there until you move wrong and it reminds you with a press of leather against skin, with restriction, with presence. And when you finally unbuckle it at day's end, the release is profound, your waist expanding slightly, your body remembering what it feels like to exist without compression. You look down and see the impression the belt left, a temporary indentation circling your middle, proof that for hours you wore structure, definition, a wide leather band that told the world exactly where your waist was, whether it wanted to be there or not. Loose, flowing, often embroidered or trimmed with lace, the peasant blouse was a staple of 70s Bohemian fashion. These tops had wide, elastic necklines that could be worn off the shoulder, billowy sleeves, and a relaxed fit that felt effortlessly romantic. Paired with jeans or a long skirt, the peasant blouse was equal parts casual and elegant. You pull the peasant blouse over your head and feel it settle around your shoulders, the elastic neckline, stretching wide to accommodate, then contracting to rest gently wherever you position it. You can wear it straight across your shoulders, traditional and modest, or pull it down slightly, letting it rest off-shoulder, revealing collarbones, creating a more romantic silhouette. The fabric is usually cotton or gauze, lightweight and breathable, designed for warm weather, for comfort, for all-day wear that doesn't constrict or overheat. The weave is often loose, airy, allowing your skin to breathe beneath it, creating a barrier between you and the world that's protective without being oppressive. The sleeves are the defining feature, billowy and full, gathered at the shoulder and again at the wrist with elastic or ties. The fabric balloons outward, creating volume, creating drama, creating the sense that you're wearing clouds on your arms. When you raise your hands, the sleeves fall back, fabric cascading down toward your shoulders, revealing your forearms. Embroidery decorates many. Peasant blouses, delicate stitching around the neckline, down the front, along the sleeves. Floral patterns in bright threads. Geometric designs in contrasting colours. Simple running stitches that add texture and visual interest. The embroidery is often done by hand or made to look handmade, imperfect and charming, adding character to each blouse. Lace appears too, trimming the neckline, edging the sleeves, adding feminine detail without overwhelming the simple silhouette. The lace is usually white or cream, creating soft contrast against coloured fabric, catching light in its delicate patterns. The fit is deliberately loose, not form-fitting anywhere except where elastic gathers it. The body of the blouse hangs freely from your shoulders, skimming your torso without clinging, providing coverage and comfort simultaneously. It's the opposite of the decades-tight turtlenecks and clingy halters, offering ease and relaxation instead. You pair the peasant blouse with jeans, the romantic, top contrasting beautifully with practical denim, creating balance between bohemian and casual. The loose blouse tucks into high-waisted jeans or hangs over them, depending on your mood, the occasion, how much structure you want. With long skirts, the peasant blouse creates a fully bohemian look, both pieces flowing, both emphasizing ease and natural beauty over structure and control. You add a wide belt sometimes, cinching the blouse at your waist, creating shape while maintaining the relaxed aesthetic. The neckline offers versatility, where it's straight across and it's modest, appropriate, gentle. Pull it off shoulder and it becomes flirtatious, romantic, showing skin while maintaining the soft feminine vibe. You can switch between looks throughout the day, adjusting the neckline based on occasion, mood, weather. Colours tend toward white, cream, and earth tones, though brighter colours appear too. A white peasant blouse is classic, crisp, perfect with any bottom, earth tones. Coordinate with the decade's overall palette. Occasionally you find them in bold colours, bright blues or reds or yellows, the embroidery in contrasting shades creating visual interest. The sleeves require management. They're so full they catch on things, dip into food, drag across surfaces. You develop techniques for controlling them, pushing them up past your elbows, holding them back when reaching for things, rolling them carefully when you need your forearms free. Movement in a peasant blouse feels different from other tops. The fabric flows around you, moves with you, creates soft swishing sounds as the sleeves brush against your body. There's no restriction, no tightness, just gentle fabric accompanying your gestures. The romantic aesthetic is undeniable. The peasant blouse makes you look softer, gentler, more approachable. It suggests leisure, creativity, a life not ruled by rigid schedules or corporate dress codes. It's the uniform of artists, musicians, free spirits, anyone who values comfort and beauty over conformity. You see peasant blouses everywhere in the 70s, at outdoor concerts where women sway in flowing tops and long skirts, in college classrooms where students reject business wear in favour of comfortable cotton, at craft fairs and farmers' markets where the aesthetic matches the setting. The blouse survives the day looking slightly rumpled, the natural state of loose cotton, but still beautiful in its imperfection. The wrinkles add character, suggest lived-in comfort, prove that you've been moving through the world rather than sitting still trying to stay pressed. When you remove it at night, pulling the elastic neckline over your head, your shoulders feel suddenly exposed, cool air hitting skin that's been covered all day in soft cotton. The peasant blouse is one of the decade's gentler fashion statements, proving that you don't always need platforms and polyester to participate in the 70s. Sometimes you just need flowing sleeves and embroidered flowers and the confidence to wear something that prioritizes comfort and romance over everything else. Before Crocs, there were clogs, wooden-soled shoes with leather or canvas uppers that clacked loudly against pavement as you walked. They were comfortable, practical, and somehow stylish. Men, women, and children wore them, often paired with jeans or casual dresses. The sound of clogs on a sidewalk became the soundtrack of the decade. You slip your foot into a clog and immediately feel the difference. The sole is rigid, carved from a single piece of wood or moulded from wood composite, completely inflexible. Your foot rests on this hard surface, separated from it by a thin insole that provides minimal cushioning. The upper, usually leather, holds your foot in place, open at the heel, allowing easy on and off. Walking in clogs requires adjustment. The wooden sole doesn't bend, doesn't flex with your foot's natural movement. Instead of rolling through each step from heel to toe, you have to lift your entire foot, placing the rigid sole flat against the ground, then lifting again for the next step. It's clunky, inelegant, requires conscious effort until muscle memory develops. The sound is immediate and unmistakable, a sharp clack each time the wood hits pavement, echoing slightly, announcing your presence before you're visible. In quiet spaces the sound multiplies, each step a small percussion event. You become a walking rhythm section, creating beats with every movement. But the comfort is real, unexpected from such a basic design. The wooden sole provides support, keeps your foot in proper alignment, doesn't collapse or compress with wear. Your arch rests on firm wood, supported rather than sinking. After hours in clogs, your feet feel better than they do in cushioned sneakers, something about the rigidity actually helping rather than hurting. The styles vary. Some clogs are simple, plain leather uppers in brown or black, minimal design, pure function. Others are decorated, tooled leather, brass studs, buckles, straps, turning basic clogs into statement footwear. Canvas uppers appear too, usually in bright colours or patterns, casual and cheerful. Height differs also. Some clogs have thin wooden soles barely raising you off the ground. Others feature chunky platforms, adding inches while maintaining the clog's basic structure. These platform clogs combine two of the decade's favourite trends, creating shoes that are simultaneously comfortable and heightening. You pair clogs with everything. Jeans and t-shirts for ultimate casual comfort, the clogs adding just enough interest to elevate the basic outfit. Long skirts, the wooden clack providing contrast to the soft fabric. Even dresses sometimes, though the sound can clash with more formal aesthetics. The clogs work across seasons. In summer, you wear them with bare feet, the leather upper holding your foot securely without need for socks. In cooler weather, thick socks add warmth, the open heel allowing easy slipping on and off despite the extra layer. Maintenance is minimal. Leather uppers need occasional conditioning but otherwise survive neglect gracefully. The wooden soles withstand everything, barely showing wear even after months of daily use. Unlike sneakers that compress and lose support, unlike dress shoes that scuff and crack, clogs remain essentially unchanged, aging without deteriorating. The walking rhythm becomes automatic eventually. You stop thinking about the rigid sole, stop consciously lifting your feet differently. The clack, clack, clack becomes your personal soundtrack, following you through days, marking your passage through the world in wooden percussion. Other people's clogs create a symphony in crowded spaces. Multiple pairs walking together produce overlapping rhythms, clacks at different intervals, creating complex patterns. You can identify clog wearers by sound alone, knowing someone's approaching by the distinctive wooden click before they're visible. Children particularly love clogs, the simple slip-on design requiring no tying, the satisfying sound making every step feel important. Playgrounds echo with wooden clacks as kids run and play, the clog somehow surviving abuse that would destroy other shoes. The practicality appeals to the decade's back-to-basics movement. Clogs are simple, made from natural materials, wood and leather, nothing synthetic or complicated. They represent a return to fundamental design, to shoes that do their job without excess, without pretension. European influence shows clearly. Clogs originated in working-class cultures, worn by farmers and labourers, functional footwear that protected feet while remaining simple to make and maintain. The 70s appropriates this working-class aesthetic, transforms it into fashion, makes clogs acceptable everywhere from college campuses to casual offices. You walk through the day in your clogs, each step a small announcement, each clack a reminder that you're wearing something distinctly 70s, something that will be mocked in future decades, but right now is perfectly normal, even desirable. The rigid sole supports your feet better than you'd expect. The leather upper develops a patina, conforming gradually to your foot's shape. The sound becomes comforting rather than annoying, a familiar rhythm accompanying your movement. And when you finally kick them off at day's end, your feet slide out easily, the open heel design making removal effortless. Your feet feel good, surprisingly unaffected by hours of walking on wood, proof that sometimes the simplest designs work best, that comfort doesn't require cushioning and flexibility, that a piece of carved wood and some leather can be everything a shoe needs to be. The 1970s saw a surge in thrift shopping and vintage fashion. Young people raided their parents' closets and scoured second-hand stores for pieces from the 20s, 30s and 40s. Old flapper dresses, Victorian blouses, 40s-era blazers, all were remixed into 70s outfits. This wasn't just about saving money. It was about individuality, about finding pieces no one else had. You push open the door of a thrift store and immediately smell it. The distinctive scent of old fabric, mothballs, dust, decades of other people's lives compressed into racks of clothing. The smell is overwhelming at first, musty and thick, but you breathe through it because somewhere in this crowded space is something no one else will ever own. The racks are packed, hangers jammed together so tightly you have to force them apart to see what's hiding between them. You start flipping through, fingers moving quickly, eyes scanning for anything that looks old enough, interesting enough, different enough to warrant closer inspection. Most of it is ordinary. Polyester shirts from 5 years ago, plain skirts, unremarkable jackets. But then you see it. A flash of beading, a glimpse of silk, something that clearly doesn't belong to this decade. You pull out a dress from the 1920s, genuine flapper era, dropped waist, beaded bodice, fringe along the hem. The fabric is delicate, fragile from age, the beads slightly tarnished but still intact. You hold it up and imagine the woman who wore this 50 years ago, dancing to jazz, living through an entirely different era. Now it's yours, or could be, for $3. The thrill is in the hunt, in finding authentic pieces that carry history in their seams. You're not looking for vintage reproductions or modern takes on old styles. You want the real thing, actual 1940s blazers with shoulder pads and worn silk linings, genuine Victorian blouses with hand-tatted lace and tiny pearl buttons, Art Deco jewellery that survived decades in someone's drawer. You try things on in cramped dressing rooms with questionable mirrors and lighting that makes everything look vaguely yellow. The clothes don't always fit. Right? Sizing has changed over the decades. Proportions are different. What was considered medium in 1940 is tiny now. But when something works, when a piece fits like it was waiting for you, the victory is profound. The mix is what makes it work. You pair a 1930s silk blouse with modern jeans, the delicate vintage fabric contrasting beautifully with contemporary denim, a 40s blazer over a 70s t-shirt, different eras meeting on your body, creating something entirely new. A 20s beaded headband with your afro or long straight hair, Art Deco meeting current styles. Your friends are doing the same thing, creating wardrobes that span decades. Everyone's hunting for different pieces. Someone collects vintage Hawaiian shirts, someone else seeks out 40s swing dresses, another friend only wants Victorian elements like cameos and lace collars. The thrift stores become hunting grounds, competitive spaces where finding something amazing means someone else doesn't get it. You learn to recognize quality, to spot real silk versus rayon, to identify hand stitching, to know which era produced which construction techniques. Your eye develops, trained by hours of sorting through racks, handling fabrics, examining seams and linings. You become an expert in the archaeology of clothing. The motivation isn't primarily financial, though vintage pieces cost far less than new clothes. It's about uniqueness, about wearing something that can't be mass-produced, that isn't hanging in every store window. It's about connecting to the past, to other eras, to the continuity of fashion across generations. Your parents' closets become treasure troves. You ask to borrow, to take, to inherit pieces they wore decades ago. Their old prom dress from 1953, your father's wide lapel suit from 1965, your grandmother's furs and jewellery and handbags. family history becomes fashion resource. The look is eclectic, deliberately mismatched, pulling from multiple eras and throwing them together with contemporary pieces. You might wear genuine 1920s shoes with 70s bell-bottoms and a 40s blouse, the combination working because you're not trying to recreate any single era. You're creating something new from pieces of the past. Flea markets and estate sales become weekend activities. You arrive early, compete with dealers and other vintage hunters, dig through boxes of old clothing, negotiate prices on pieces that have been folded in attics for decades. The best finds require patience, persistence, the willingness to sort through genuine junk to find the treasures. The clothes carry stories. You find a dress with a name sewn into the collar, a jacket with a ticket stub still in the pocket, a purse with a faded love letter folded in the lining. These aren't just clothes, they're artifacts, pieces of other people's lives, now continuing their existence on your body. By the end of the decade, vintage, fashion has become mainstream enough that stores start selling reproductions, new clothes designed to look old. But that misses the point entirely. The real vintage hunters want the actual history, the genuine articles, the pieces that survived decades and found their way into thrift stores and estate sales, waiting to be discovered, rescued, and worn again. Something shifted in the 70s. Formal fashion, the kind that required suits, ties, gloves, and hats, began to fade. People stopped dressing up for everyday life. Casual became acceptable. Jeans could be worn to dinner. Sneakers replaced dress shoes. The rigid dress codes of previous generations loosened, replaced by a more relaxed, individualistic approach to style. You remember when leaving the house required specific attire. Church on Sunday meant suits and dresses, hats and gloves, polished shoes and matching accessories. Dinner out required proper dress. Air travel demanded your best clothes. Even grocery shopping was an occasion that required looking presentable, put together, respectable. But something changed. Slowly at first, then rapidly, the rules relaxed. You watch your father stop wearing a tie to dinner. Your mother leaves her gloves at home. People start showing up to restaurants in jeans, not dress pants. The shift is subtle but unmistakable. Men's suits change first. The rigid, structured business suits of the 50s and 60s give way to softer constructions. Leisure suits appear, eliminating the formality entirely, making casual the new standard. Ties get wider, louder, less serious. Shirts open at the collar, showing chest hair, rejecting the buttoned-up aesthetic. The three-piece suit becomes optional rather than obligatory. Women's fashion follows, embracing pants for occasions that previously demanded dresses. Pantsuits become acceptable office wear, then everywhere wear. The requirement for hats and gloves disappears almost overnight. Hemlines rise and fall without scandal. The notion of proper dress becomes flexible, negotiable, personal. You start seeing jeans in contexts that would have been scandalous a decade earlier. Nice restaurants where denim was once forbidden now seat people in bell-bottoms without comment. Theatre audiences arrive in casual clothes rather than evening wear. Even some offices relax their dress codes, allowing more relaxed attire on Fridays or sometimes every day. Sneakers invade spaces previously reserved for leather dress shoes, tennis shoes, running shoes, casual canvas sneakers. They start appearing everywhere, not just for sports or children, but on adults, in public, worn with outfits that would have required proper shoes in previous decades. The comfort revolution prioritizes feeling good over looking formal. The hat disappears almost completely. Men stop wearing fedoras and Homburgs as daily accessories. Women abandon the decorative hats that were essential to 50s fashion. Hat boxes gather dust, hat shops close. The bear head becomes standard, unremarkable, no longer a sign of disrespect or improper dress. Gloves follow the same path. once essential for any woman leaving the house, now optional, then obsolete. The delicate ritual of pulling on gloves, fastening tiny buttons, matching them to your outfit, it all fades. Hands go bare. No one notices. The change reflects larger cultural shifts. The formality of previous generations feels stuffy, restrictive, connected to hierarchies and social structures the 70s rejects. Casual dress represents equality, individualism, the rejection of rigid class markers. If everyone can wear jeans, the visual distinctions between classes blur. You notice it in photographs. Pictures from the 50s show everyone dressed up, even children in formal attire for casual family photos. Pictures from the 70s show people in jeans and t-shirts, in casual clothes, in outfits that prioritize comfort and self-expression over conformity and propriety. The workplace struggles with the transition. Some offices hold firm to dress codes, requiring suits and ties, maintaining the old standards. Others relax gradually, allowing casual Fridays, then casual every day. The tension between professional appearance and personal comfort plays out across industries. Air travel transforms from formal event to casual journey. The well-dressed passengers of the 60s, men in suits and women in dresses, give way to travellers in jeans and sneakers, prioritizing comfort for long flights over appearance. Airlines stop expecting formal dress. The glamour fades, replaced by practicality. Churches and religious institutions notice declining formality. Parishioners arrive in casual clothes, sitting in pews in jeans and t-shirts rather than Sunday best. Some congregations resist, maintaining dress codes. Others accept the change, prioritizing attendance over attire. The generational divide is stark. Older people, raised on strict dress codes, struggle with the casual revolution. They see disrespect in bare heads and denim, decline in standards, loss of important social markers. Younger people see freedom, authenticity, the ability to express themselves without conforming to arbitrary rules. You catch yourself participating in the shift. You wear jeans to occasions that would have required better clothes just years ago. You leave the house in sneakers without thinking twice. You skip accessories that feel too formal, too fussy, too connected to eras you're ready to leave behind. The formality doesn't disappear completely. Weddings still require dress-up clothes. Funerals maintain their somber dress codes. Job interviews demand professional appearance. But these become exceptions rather than rules, special occasions rather than everyday expectations. By the end of the decade, casual has won. The default outfit for most people, most of the time, is jeans or casual pants, comfortable tops, sneakers or casual shoes. Formal wear exists for specific occasions only. The everyday formality of previous generations feels foreign, almost incomprehensible, like customs from a distant past rather than just a decade ago. By the late 70s, the midi skirt, a mid-calf length that had been popular earlier in the decade, began to disappear. Hemlines shifted again, moving either shorter, mini skirts, or longer, maxi skirts, leaving the midi awkwardly in between. Fashion moved on, as it always does, and the midi became a relic of a brief moment in time. You remember when the midi length felt revolutionary, modern, a sophisticated middle ground between the mini's bold exposure and the maxi's flowing coverage. The skirt hit at mid-calf, creating a specific silhouette that was neither here nor there, existing in the space between extremes. The midi skirt appeared in the early 70s as a response to the mini, which had dominated the 60s and showed no signs of disappearing. Designers pushed the midi as the next evolution, the mature choice, the length for women who wanted style without the mini's aggressive leg display. Fashion magazines promoted it. Department stores stocked it. the industry committed to making midi happen, and for a while it worked. You bought midi skirts in various fabrics. Wool for winter, cotton for summer, polyester because it was everywhere. The length felt different, required different proportions, different shoes, different awareness of where the hem fell against your leg. You learned to walk in midis, to judge the swish of fabric against your calves, to coordinate the length with boot heights and shoe styles. But the midi had problems. The length was unflattering on many body types, cutting the leg at an awkward point, making women look shorter, heavier, less balanced than either shorter or longer skirts. The mid-calf hem drew the eye to the thickest part of the leg, creating visual weight exactly where most women didn't want it. The proportions were tricky. With minis you wore any shoe and it worked. With maxis the length was forgiving, covering everything, creating flow. But midis required careful calculation. Wrong shoes made the whole outfit look frumpy. Wrong top threw off the balance. The midi demanded precision that most people didn't want to bother with. You notice the shift happening gradually. Stores start offering more minis again, shorter skirts creeping back into fashion. Maxis remain strong, their flowing length still appealing, still flattering, still easy to wear, but midis start disappearing from new collections, relegated to sale racks, marked down, unwanted. The fashion industry tries to push through, insisting that midi is still happening, still relevant. But women vote with their purchases, choosing minis or maxis, skipping over the midi section entirely. The length that was supposed to be the sophisticated choice becomes the dated one, the try-hard one, the length that screams, "I bought this 2 years ago and haven't updated my wardrobe." You look at your own midi skirts hanging in the closet and realise you haven't worn them in months. They feel wrong now, the length suddenly awkward, unfashionable, a reminder of a trend that peaked and passed. You consider donating them, but hesitate, wondering if maybe the midi will come back, if fashion will cycle around again. But fashion is moving decisively away. By late in the decade, minis are back in force, paired with platform shoes and tights, creating the bold leg exposure the mini is famous for. Maxis remain strong, flowing and romantic, perfect with flat sandals or boots. The midi, trapped between these two successful lengths, has nowhere to go. The death of the midi happens quickly once it starts. One season it's acceptable, common, unremarkable. The next season it looks dated, wrong, evidence of being behind the times. Fashion moves that fast, declaring lengths in and out with brutal efficiency. You watch women navigate the transition. Some cling to their midis, insisting the length still works, still looks good, still deserves wardrobe space. Others abandon them immediately, embracing shorter or longer with relief, happy to escape a length that never quite felt right. The midi becomes a punchline, a reference point for failed fashion trends. Proof that the industry can't always dictate what women will wear. Despite heavy promotion, despite fashion magazine coverage, despite designers' commitment, the midi failed to stick, failed to become a lasting part of the fashion landscape. Hemlines settle into a new pattern by decade's end. Short or long, mini or maxi, nothing in between. The midi exists only in the awkward middle ground, the forgotten length, the brief experiment that the fashion world tried and women rejected. You finally pull your midi skirts from the closet and donate them, acknowledging that this trend is over, that the length had its moment, and that moment has passed. Someone else can try to make them work, or they can sit in a thrift store until vintage becomes fashionable again, and some future generation rediscovers the midi, wondering why this perfectly reasonable length ever fell out of favour. But right now, in the late 70s, the midi is done. Hemlines have moved on, fashion has evolved, and the mid-calf length that was supposed to be the sophisticated compromise has become the awkward reminder of a trend that never quite took hold the way the industry hoped it would. By the end of the decade, the leisure suit, once a symbol of casual sophistication, had become a punchline. Late-night talk shows mocked it. Comedians joked about it. The very thing that had seemed so stylish at the start of the 70s now felt dated, ridiculous, embarrassing. The leisure suit faded fast, relegated to costume parties and retro-themed events. You watched the transformation happen in real time. The leisure suit that seemed modern and sophisticated in 1973 looks absurd by 1979. The same matching polyester jacket and pants that made you feel put together now make you look like you're wearing a joke, like you missed the memo that fashion moved on without you. The mockery starts subtly. A comedian makes a crack about leisure suits during a monologue. The audience laughs, recognizing the target, acknowledging that yes, leisure suits are slightly ridiculous. The joke lands because everyone's thinking it. Everyone's noticed that the leisure suit has crossed from fashionable to foolish without any clear transition point. Television amplifies the ridicule. Characters in sitcoms wear leisure suits to signal that they're out of touch, trying too hard, stuck in the past. The leisure suit becomes visual shorthand for has-been, for someone who peaked years ago and doesn't realise the world has changed. When a character shows up in a leisure suit, you know they're about to be the butt of the joke. You look at your own leisure suit hanging in the closet and feel the weight of its sudden unfashionability. The caramel polyester that looks sophisticated now looks cheap. The matching jacket and pants that seem coordinated now seem desperate. Try hard, the outfit equivalent of laughing too loud at your own jokes. The decline is brutal because it's complete. The leisure suit doesn't fade gracefully into vintage status or become a classic that some people continue wearing. It crashes, becomes universally mocked, turns into the decade's most embarrassing fashion mistake. Owning a leisure suit becomes something to hide rather than display. Men abandon them quickly. Closets empty of matching polyester sets, donated to thrift stores that will soon be overwhelmed with leisure suits nobody wants. The racks at second-hand shops fill with tan and brown and pastel blue leisure suits, all looking forlorn, rejected, proof that fashion is fickle and trends are temporary. The replacement aesthetic is dramatically different. The 80s arrive with power suits, structured shoulders, serious fabrics, a complete rejection of the leisure suit's casual softness. Business wear becomes formal again, but in a different way, aggressive and angular rather than relaxed and flowing. The leisure suit represents everything the new decade wants to leave behind. You try to remember why leisure suits seemed like a good idea. The comfort was real. The ease of matching jacket and pants appealed. The casual but dressed-up vibe filled a need. But somewhere the execution failed, or fashion simply moved on, or both. The leisure suit became a symbol of 70s excess, of trying too hard to be casual, of polyester's dominance taken one step too far. The colour choices don't help. Those earth tones that dominated the decade now look dated, tired, played out. Tan leisure suits look like mistakes. Brown ones look depressing. Pastel blues look like someone dressed for Easter and missed. The colours that seemed modern and sophisticated now seem confused about their own identity. The fabric is part of the problem. Polyester's initial appeal, wrinkle-resistant, easy care, affordable, has worn off. Now people notice how it doesn't breathe, how it shines wrong in certain lights, how it holds odours, how it feels synthetic against skin. The leisure suit's polyester construction goes from feature to flaw. Fashion magazines that once promoted leisure suits now pretend they never existed, or feature them in cautionary articles about fashion mistakes. The same editors who declared leisure suits essential now shake their heads at the trend, distancing themselves from their earlier enthusiasm. You see leisure suits only in specific contexts now, on older men who haven't updated wardrobes, at costume parties where people dress as disco-era stereotypes, in photographs from earlier in the decade that already look like historical documents. The leisure suit has moved from current fashion to period costume in just a few years. The speed of the decline is shocking. Trends usually fade gradually, becoming less popular, less common, slowly aging out of acceptability. But the leisure suit crashes, goes from everywhere to nowhere almost overnight, burned by mockery, abandoned by everyone who wants to seem current, relevant, aware that the world has changed. By 1980, wearing a leisure suit unironically is impossible. The garment has become saturated with meaning beyond its original purpose, laden with associations to a decade people are eager to leave behind, representative of fashion mistakes and cultural excess, and everything about the 70s that suddenly seems embarrassing. You finally donate yours, adding it to the pile of rejected leisure suits at the thrift store, knowing it will probably sit there for years, too dated to be vintage, too recent to be nostalgic, trapped in fashion purgatory. The leisure suit had its moment, brief and bright, and now that moment is definitively over, killed by mockery and changing tastes and the simple fact that fashion always moves on. And then, suddenly, it was over. As the 1980s arrived, fashion shifted with startling speed. The earth tones faded, the platforms vanished. Polyester was replaced by cotton and silk. Bell-bottoms gave way to straight-leg jeans. Disco died, punk exploded, and the entire aesthetic of the 70s seemed to evaporate overnight. What had been cool, bold, revolutionary, suddenly felt old. You wake up one morning in 1980 and realize your entire wardrobe looks wrong. The clothes that felt current last year now feel dated, disconnected from whatever fashion has become. The shift wasn't gradual. There was no gentle transition. One day, you're wearing the decade's uniform. The next day, you're wearing the past. The colours change first. Those warm earth tones that dominated everything, burnt orange and mustard yellow and avocado green, suddenly look tired, played out, desperately uncool. The new palette is different. Black, white, bright primaries, neon accents, colours that reject the 70s organic warmth for something sharper, more aggressive, more angular. Your bell-bottoms stop making sense. The flair that seemed essential now looks excessive, ridiculous, a style that belongs to a different era. Straight-leg jeans appear in stores, creating clean lines from hip to ankle, eliminating the dramatic flair. You try wearing your bells but feel conspicuous, outdated, like you're clinging to something everyone else has abandoned. Platforms disappear from shoe stores. The chunky, towering footwear that added height and presence gets replaced by flatter styles, by sleeker proportions, by shoes that don't make walking an adventure. Your platforms sit in the closet, suddenly unwearable, symbols of a fashion moment that passed. Polyester's dominance ends abruptly. Natural fibres return, cotton and wool and silk reclaiming territory, lost to synthetic fabrics. The polyester that was everywhere, that defined the decade's texture and sheen, becomes something to avoid, to mock, to associate with outdated style. You feel the fabric of your shirts and realize they're announcing that you haven't caught up. The silhouettes transform. Fitted gives way to oversized. Flowing gets replaced by structured. The relaxed Bohemian shapes of the 70s clash with the new decade's preference for power shoulders and defined waists and deliberate tailoring. Your clothes that felt comfortable and easy now feel shapeless, lacking the structure the new fashion demands. Disco's death accelerates the shift. The music that drove much of the decade's aesthetic crashes hard, rejected violently, mocked mercilessly. With disco goes the sequins, the satin, the metallic fabrics, the entire shimmering aesthetic. The clothes designed for disco floors become costumes, relics, evidence of a party that ended badly. Punk's influence spreads, bringing with it a completely different approach. Ripped clothing, safety pins, deliberate ugliness, rejection of the 70s' earnest attempts at beauty. The aesthetic is aggressive, confrontational, designed to provoke rather than please. Your flowing maxi dress and peasant blouse feel naive, innocent, too gentle for the harder edge fashion is developing. You watch music videos, new technology, broadcasting, new styles, and see how completely fashion has pivoted. The artists wear clothes that bear no relationship to what filled your closet. The cuts are different. The attitudes are different. The entire approach to style has shifted in ways that make the 70s look like ancient history rather than last year. The accessories change too. Wide belts and dangly earrings feel heavy-handed compared to the new minimalism or the new excess, depending on which direction you're looking. Your chunky jewellery and macrame bags suddenly seem craft project amateur, lacking the polish or the edge the new decade requires. You try to adapt, to update, to incorporate new pieces while holding on to favourites from the 70s. But the mixing doesn't work. The aesthetics are too different, too opposed. Wearing a punk-inspired jacket over a peasant blouse creates confusion rather than fusion. The styles refuse to blend. Shopping becomes disorienting. The stores that carried your favourite styles have changed inventory completely. Bell-bottoms are gone. Platform shoes are clearance items. Earth tones have been replaced by brights and darks. The visual language of fashion has changed so completely that walking into a store feels like entering foreign territory. You notice it on the street too. People who dressed like you last year now look completely different. The collective wardrobe has shifted, everyone moving together toward new styles, new proportions, new colours. The 70s aesthetic becomes rare, then non-existent, replaced wholesale by something that hasn't fully formed yet, but definitely isn't what came before. The speed is stunning. Fashion always changes. Trends always fade. But this feels different. This feels like a complete rejection. A generation wanting distance from the decade just ended, eager to establish that whatever comes next will not be bell-bottoms and disco and polyester. You stand in front of your closet looking at clothes that were perfect 6 months ago and are now historical artifacts. The peasant blouses, the platform shoes, the wide belts, the earth-toned everything. All of it suddenly, definitively over. Not vintage yet, not nostalgic yet, just recently past, which is the worst place for fashion to be. The 1970s didn't end gradually. They crashed, rejected wholesale, turned into punchlines and cautionary tales and everything fashion would spend the next decade trying not to be. The trends that defined years disappeared in months, replaced by aesthetics that promised to be smarter, cooler, more sophisticated, less embarrassing. And you, standing there in your burnt orange shirt and bell-bottom jeans, suddenly understand that you're dressed for a party that's already over, that ended without warning, that everyone else has already left. The fashion of the 70s, bold and bright and unapologetic, has vanished overnight, leaving you wondering how something that felt so right could become so wrong so quickly. So tonight, as you settle deeper into your blanket, let's take a breath and think about what we just walked through together. The platforms that defied physics, the bell-bottoms that swept the floor, the polyester that refused to breathe, the colours so bold they practically glowed. We spent time in a decade that wasn't afraid to be loud, to be daring, to try things that future generations would mock, but that in the moment felt absolutely right. These weren't just clothes, they were choices people made every morning, standing in front of closets, deciding how to present themselves to the world. They were the woman cinching a wide belt around her waist, creating shape where she wanted it. The man stepping into platforms adding height and confidence. The teenager pulling on a halter top despite her grandmother's disapproval. Every outfit was a small act of participation in the moment, in the now, in the decade unfolding around them. And then it ended. Fashion moved on, as it always does, leaving behind closets full of earth tones and wooden-soled shoes and jumpsuits that made bathroom trips an Olympic event. But for a while, for a beautiful, chaotic while, people wore these things and felt good, felt current, felt like they belonged to their time. So maybe tonight, as you drift towards sleep, think about the courage it takes to participate fully in your own era, knowing that someday someone will look back and wonder what everyone was thinking. Think about the people who wore these wild, impractical, absolutely wonderful clothes and walk through their lives with the same hopes and fears and daily routines we all carry. They didn't know they were living in fashion history. They were just getting dressed, just choosing what felt right, just doing their best with the bell-bottoms and platforms and polyester they had. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's always been enough. Good night, and may your dreams be as bold and unapologetic as a 1970s wardrobe at its absolute peak.